Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is Language of Chemistry for class 7. Now, we all know in order to form a language we require the alphabets. Then with the help of alphabets we get the word, and with the help of word we can able to write the sentence. Same way, in the language of chemistry we have the symbols. You all must have already studied the symbols 1 to 20. Okay? The elements, you should know the symbols. Then with the help of symbols, we can able to write the chemical formulae, and based on chemical formulae, we can able to write the chemical equations. So in this chapter, we are going to study chemical reaction, and we are also going to study chemical equations. Now, chemical reactions are also considered as chemical change. Now, in this chemical reaction, we require the reactants, and what we get is a product. Reactants. And once it undergo a chemical change, what we get is a products. Now, what do we mean by reactants? The elements or compounds which take part in a chemical reaction, those are considered as the reactants. And the elements and compounds that are formed after the chemical change, that we call it as products. Okay? So once we get the reactants, after it undergoes a chemical change, what we obtain is a product. So let's take an example over here. Magnesium. When this magnesium comes in contact with oxygen gas, what we get is magnesium oxide. So here, these elements, they combine to form a product, that is one compound. So this magnesium and oxygen, these are considered as reactants. And what you get after the reaction is the product. You can get one product, or you can get more than one. Same way, you can take one reactant, or you may have more than one reactant. Let's take one more example. Carbon with oxygen. When carbon combines with the oxygen gas, what you are going to get is carbon dioxide. In an atom, the electrons are distributed around the nucleus. The arrangement of electrons around the nucleus of an atom, we call it as electronic configuration. Now, let us understand how we can write this electronic configuration. Let's take an example. You have sodium. Okay? So, here sodium, we know what is the atomic number of sodium? It is 11. Now, remember, now when you are writing the atomic number, you can able to write the electronic configuration. So in this, what we have to remember is, this is the nucleus, okay, and the nucleus is surrounded with the different shells. So here, in the first shell, we can have only 2 electrons, okay. We can write it using the formula, that is 2n square. Now consider the first shell. So n will be the number of shells. So you can write the first shell as 2, 1 square. Okay. So what is 1 square? 1 square will be 1, 2 ones are 2. So in the first shell, you are going to have 2 electrons. So it will be 1 and 2. Okay. Similarly, go for the second shell. Now in the second shell, again, I will replace this n by 2. So I will write it over here, 2n square. Where second shell, I have to write 2. So 2 square. So it will be 2 into, what is 2 square? 2 2s are 4. So 4 2s are 8. So in the second shell, we are going to have 8 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you need to obtain 11. You have 2 and you have 8. So remaining 1 electron. So where you are going to put it? You will place it in the third shell. So, okay. So what will be the electronic configuration? It will be 2, 8, 1. So that will be the electronic configuration of sodium. Similarly, we can try for oxygen. Oxygen, for this thing, in order to write the electronic configuration, you should know the atomic number. Now oxygen is having the atomic number 8. So I need to write the electronic configuration. It's not that you have to draw the shells. Okay. If you know the number of electrons, now you know in the first shell you can have 2 electrons. So I'll write 2. In the second shell you can have at the most 8 electrons. Now if you write 8 over here, 8 plus 2 will become 10. But what we need to obtain? We need to get 8 electrons. I mean the 8 atomic number. The total is 8. So what I can do over here? I have already written 2. So I can write 6. That is 6 plus 2 becomes 8. Okay. So if I have to draw it, this will be the nucleus. It is going to have how many shells? 2 shells. So the first shell will have how many electrons? 2 electrons. 1 and 2. Same way, second shell will have 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 5 and 6. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So this is how we can write the electronic configuration. Study conditions for chemical reactions. Different conditions are required in order to carry out a chemical reaction. Okay. So in this, the first one what we will study is close contact. When the reactants comes in contact with each other, then the spontaneous reaction can take place. So in this, if we can take an example, you have ammonia gas. This ammonia gas, when it comes in contact with HCl gas, that is hydrogen chloride gas, a spontaneous reaction is taking place, and what you get is NH4Cl, that is solid. Okay, here you get to see the dense white fumes, which we call it as ammonium chloride. Again, we can take one more example, that is, if you take a sodium metal. Now normally the sodium metal is stored in kerosene. Now why it has been stored in kerosene? Because if this sodium metal comes in contact with the moisture, that is comes in contact with water, that is in presence of moisture, then the explosive reaction can take place. So in that case, the sodium is stored in kerosene. So in this case, what is happening? The sodium is showing the spontaneous reaction. That is, when two reactants comes in contact, a spontaneous reaction is taking place, and you get to obtain the explosive mixture. Okay. So therefore, the sodium metal is stored in kerosene. Now, the second one, what we have is the solution form. This is one more important condition which is required for chemical reaction. Now, if you take two different solids, now solid and solid will not combine or will not show any chemical reaction. So this solid has to be converted in the solution form. That is, with the help of water, once it becomes in the aqueous form, we can say it as an aqueous solution. Okay. So here let's take an example. If I take NaCl, solid NaCl, and if I take solid lead nitrate, solid, then the reaction will not take place. But if the same sodium chloride, if I add water in this and if I make it as an aqueous form, okay, if I make it in an aqueous form, then the reaction will take place, and what you will get is sodium nitrate and lead chloride. Okay, so here in this case, once these reactants are in the solution form, then only the reaction can take place. Third one is heat. Certain chemical reaction can take place when the reactants are heated. Okay. So in this we can take an example, that is Fe plus sulfur. Now you know Fe is iron filings and sulfur is a powder. Now here, if I mix this, I will not get anything. But if I mix and if I heat it with the supply of heat, what I am going to get is iron sulfide. Okay. So here, this reaction proceeds with the help of heat. Same way, we can take one more example. If I take copper carbonate. Okay. Now this copper carbonate, it will undergo the reaction, but with the help of heat. What I will get is, I will get copper oxide plus I will get carbon dioxide gas. So you have to remember that certain reaction can take place only when there is a supply of heat. The next one, fourth one is light. Certain chemical reaction can also take place with the help of sunlight. Now in this, the best example what we can take is photosynthesis. Now I'm sure you all must be knowing what we mean by photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process in which green plants prepare their food with the help of chlorophyll, with the help of carbon dioxide, with the help of water, and along with that you require the sunlight. Okay, so it will be carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight. Okay, what you will get is oxygen. Okay, carbon dioxide, when it comes in contact with water, in presence of sunlight, you will get the glucose and oxygen. So the reaction is balanced over here. Okay, 6 is used for balancing. You should only know how the reaction can take place and which are the conditions. Now light is one more factor which is essential to carry out this chemical reaction. Similarly, I can take one more example. Hydrogen gas, when it comes in contact with chlorine gas, that is in presence of diffused sunlight, that is partial sunlight. Okay, diffused sunlight, what I will get is, I will get the hydrogen chloride gas. Okay, now if this hydrogen gas comes in contact with chlorine gas in presence of direct sunlight, then the explosive reaction can take place. So because of that, diffused sunlight is used, wherein what we get is hydrogen chloride gas. So these are the examples which are coming under light. That is, the chemical reaction can take place in presence of light. Fifth one is pressure. Certain chemical reaction can take place under high pressure. The reaction between the gaseous reactants can occur at high pressure. Okay, so in this we can take an example, that is for the synthesis of ammonia, we require the nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas under high pressure, that is 200 to 900 atmosphere. What we get is ammonia. NH3 is ammonia. Okay. So here, this reaction we use it for the synthesis of ammonia, that is for the preparation of ammonia. Nitrogen gas, when it comes in contact with hydrogen gas, in presence of catalyst, in presence of temperature, and here since we are talking about the pressure is 200 to 900 atmosphere, what we get is ammonia. Same way, we have studied carbon dioxide with water. Now here, carbon dioxide, when it gets dissolved in water, it can only get dissolved in water under high pressure. Okay, high pressure. What you will get to obtain is carbonic acid, that is H2CO3 is carbonic acid. NH3 is ammonia. Okay. So carbon dioxide combines with water in presence of high pressure. What you get is carbonic acid. Now this carbonic acid is mainly found in the aerated drinks wherein it tastes nice. Okay. The next one is electric current. Sixth one is electric current. Certain chemical reaction can take place when there is presence of electric current or when there is an electric spark. So here we can take an example, that is decomposition of water. Water can only get decomposed in presence of electric current, or you can say electric spark. Electric current, and what you will get is hydrogen gas plus oxygen gas. So these are the two gases which will obtain once the water undergoes the decomposition, that is in presence of electric current or electric spark. So this is about the electric current. Okay. Second one is catalyst. Now what do you mean by catalyst? Catalyst is a substance which can alter the rate of reaction without taking part in the chemical reaction. Just to increase the speed of the reaction or to decrease the speed of the reaction, we use catalyst. So if I take the same example, that is nitrogen and hydrogen, here we require the catalyst. Okay, so here we can use iron as a catalyst wherein the reaction can take place faster. So what you will get is ammonia. So just to increase the speed of the reaction or else to decrease the speed of the reaction, we use the catalyst. Now again, this catalyst, there are two types. One is a positive catalyst and one is negative catalyst. Positive catalyst is the one which increases the speed of the reaction. Negative catalyst is a catalyst which slows down the rate of reaction or which decreases the speed of the reaction. So these are some of the examples and the conditions which are required for chemical reaction. Now let us study types of chemical reactions. These chemical reactions are classified into different types. They are, first one is combination reaction. Second one is decomposition reaction. Third one is simple displacement reaction, or else you can say displacement reaction. Fourth one is double displacement reaction, and fifth one is oxidation and reduction reactions. We are going to study combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Now let us study the first type of reaction, that is combination reaction. What do you mean by combination reaction? It is a chemical reaction in which two or more reactants combines to form a single product. Okay. Now here let's take an example. That is, first one is burning of magnesium ribbon. So here magnesium, when it comes in contact with oxygen, that is two reactants combines to form one product, that is single product, you will get magnesium oxide. Okay, so magnesium, when it comes in contact with oxygen, you get magnesium oxide. This combination reaction is also called as synthesis reaction. Let's take one more example. Carbon, when it comes in contact with oxygen, what you will get is carbon dioxide. Okay, same way I can take iron. When it comes in contact with sulfur, that is in presence of heat, what you will get is iron sulfide. Okay, so the two reactants combines to form one product. So these are the examples of combination reaction. Second one is decomposition reaction. It is a chemical reaction in which one reactant is split up into its constituent elements or compounds. Here, let's take an example. The first one is decomposition of calcium carbonate, which we call it as limestone. CaCO3 is calcium carbonate, or as you can say limestone. So this limestone, when it is heated, this symbol stands for heating. Okay, when it is heated, what you will get is calcium oxide, which we call it as quicklime. Last, I get carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so your one reactant is split up into its constituent compounds. Let's take one more example. Water. Decomposition of water can take place when the electric current is passed. So that is in presence of electric current, what you will get? It will get split up into its constituent elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. So here the decomposition of water can take place in presence of electric current, wherein it will get split up into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Let's take one more example. Third one, decomposition of potassium chlorate. Potassium chlorate is KClO3. This is called potassium chlorate. This potassium chlorate, when it is heated, it will get split up into the compound and the element. Okay, you will get KCl, that is potassium chloride, and you will get oxygen gas. So this equation has to be balanced. So now it is balanced. The balancing, we are going to study it later. In today's class, we have studied the chemical reaction, and we have studied the different types of chemical reactions and what are the conditions which are required for chemical reactions. Thank you.